I get asked all the time how you get started. How do you make money? How do you get started in making money? If you have $0, what is the starting point? And there's a number of different things like that. The first question that I'd ask is, what experience do you have? If you're 20 years old, you have no experience, and you're just like, I want to make money, then you need to go and start getting experience. You got to build an expertise. If you want to make big money, you got to be an expert at something. Interesting thing happened this morning. We had a guy book a sales call with us, or we had a guy who saw one of our ads, submitted an inquiry form. We had somebody reach out, went back and forth with this person by email, and ultimately the guy booked a call. Then we had one of our other staff members follow up with this person on accident. It was our fault. He followed up and asked him similar questions, but really the idea was for him to confirm the call. And the guy flew off the handle and was so like, I'm not going to work with you guys because you're so unprofessional asking me the same questions. And my team member clarified. He's like, hey, I'm so sorry. I didn't realize you're speaking to so and so, and it's my bad. And the guy responded, well, you blew it. This isn't on me. It was one of those things where you're like, something else is going on here. This isn't normal for people to act that way if it's something that they're really interested in. Well, I was looking deeper into the conversation, and it turns out that the guy doesn't have a job, and every person that he has talked to about YouTube management or YouTube strategy has said our price points are thousands of dollars, right? Because naturally, anybody who is teaching something that and has an expertise in it is going to charge top dollar, because working with top dollar clients is easier than working with people who don't have any money at all. And so the thought went through my head. I was like, okay, this makes more sense. The guy probably wasn't serious about working with us to begin with, and was using this mistake, this honest mistake, as a way to get out of having to do the work. And a lot of people find themselves in this trap, and they lie to themselves. They convince themselves that it's never their problem. And if you guys watched the video that I did yesterday, one of the keys to success is awareness. You have to have awareness. You have to have self-awareness as to why you're making the decisions that you're making. Because if you're making decisions out of fear, then generally you're going to attract back to yourself what you don't want. If you're making decisions out of the fear of losing money, then you're going to stay cheap. And cheap people don't grow, because in order to make more money, you have to risk something. You have to know what it feels like to have something on the line that if you don't do this, it's going to negatively impact you. One of the greatest lessons that I ever learned, and there's a point to all of this too, you guys. One of the greatest lessons that I ever learned in business was that if I want to level up, then I need to be willing to spend what I'm trying to ascend into. So, for example, a few years ago, 2.5 years ago, 3 years ago, I got hit up, or actually, no, I came across an ad on Instagram, and I was like, I like this guy. I want to work with him. Filled out his form, booked a sales call, and they closed me. $36,000. They closed me at $36,000. I spent $36,000 for him as a coach for a year. And I spent $3,000 a month on this guy. Never have I ever spent that amount of money on anybody. And this was a 22-year-old kid, because I was so interested in what he had to offer that I was like, yeah, let's do it. I'm going to work one-on-one with this guy. And I worked with him. And after working with him, I learned that just the act of spending that amount of money gave me permission at 37, 38 years old to charge that amount of money. It's funny how the brain works that way. If we're not willing to spend it, then we're most likely not willing to ask for it, because we're afraid, because we're setting that self-imposed limitation. And so now, not only am I more than willing to spend lots of money on training and coaching, because it's not just for the training and coaching. It's so that way I can give myself permission to take my business to the next level. I just realized I got my ear things in. By the way, you guys, I got a new soundboard. I got a Rodecaster Pro 2. We'll see if this sounds a little bit better on the audio. It seems like everything's pretty leveled out now, so I'm kind of digging the way that it works. Plus, I get these cool little buttons. I don't know if you guys can hear that, but let's try this one. That's right. It works. Okay. All right. I probably won't use those very often. I just think that they're pretty dang cool. Anyway, and I hope that the audio works itself out so that you guys don't have to deal with my ups and downs of audio woes. So the point is, the point of this message so far is that you need to make sure that if you're wanting to grow and you're wanting to make money, you need to, number one, make sure that you're taking action. Number two, make sure that you're giving yourself permission to take big action. You're giving yourself permission to take risk. If you don't risk anything, then there's nothing on the line. And when there's nothing on the line, there's nothing that's keeping you propped up saying you got to keep going. Because if you don't keep going, you're going to end up in a worse situation than what you're in now. When I spent $36,000, I barely had an additional $3,000 a month to spend on this guy. We were making $100,000 a month, but we were highly leveraged at the time. Everything that was coming in was we were putting into different services, products, equipment, all sorts of stuff. And so I had to take a risk, and I took the risk, and it ended up paying off. I ended up turning that $36,000, all of this stuff that he taught me, into $150,000 a year. And it has become the backbone of the coaching program that we have right now. I gave myself permission to spend $36,000 on a coach. And in turn, I pushed myself, pressured myself to make sure that I saw a return on that investment. And not only that, but I also was able to recoup that five times what I put into it. And it's still going. And it'll continue to be a cash cow for us. We'll make millions of dollars on this product over the course of the next 5 years. No doubt in my mind, because it's such a stellar program, such a stellar lesson that I learned from this guy. So if you don't have money, right? You're like, hey, I don't have any money. Then it's going to be really difficult for anybody to want to work with you, because anybody who has, or to train you, to teach you, because anybody who has done anything knows that most people who don't have money and they tell you that they're willing to work for free, or they're willing to learn, or willing to do whatever it takes in order to get somewhere, they know that that's a load of crap. They know that people will say that. They'll say anything so that way they can get a free meal. But then when it comes to getting that free meal, if it doesn't fit within their parameters of what works in their mind, if it doesn't fit within their comfort zone, they'll give up immediately. And so I do not even work with anybody who's like, hey, can you just mentor me? Can I give you thumbnails or titles or leads for free? Let me show you what I can do. I'm like, no, not going to happen. I only want to pay for it, because as soon as I pay for it, then they know that they're responsible to me. And this is, most of the time it works out. Every once in a while it doesn't work out. I'll pay for something and then they won't deliver on it. Just for example, another example, I was using a lead service, just ended with them a couple weeks ago. A few months ago, they sent me an email, and it was a Facebook DM. Sent me a Facebook DM. Hey, if we can get you 5 to 10 leads, is that worth it for you? And I was like, hey, let's try it out. And they're like, okay, $1,000. We have a 15 lead guarantee in the first month, or we work for free. We got like 2.5 months in, and they hadn't got us any leads. Nothing booked at all. And finally, I was just like, I'm not going to hold you to this. I'm not going to make you work for me for free forever. Just take off and go. And that was that. But you have to understand that human nature is, if there's nothing on the line for you, nothing on the line for the person that is approaching you, if you're successful, if there's nothing on the line for them, then they almost never will fulfill the word that they say. They almost never will fulfill their obligation, what they say they're going to do. If you don't have money and you want to be successful, here's what you need to do. And this is what I did. You have time. You don't have money, you have time. And time is value. Time is currency, because you can accomplish things in a given amount of time. You can go and purchase a desk off of Facebook Marketplace and fix it up and sell it. You can flip it. That just takes time. Doesn't take a lot of money. You can find desks for $10. Everybody has $10. Even if you're a hobo living on the street, you got $10. You could panhandle for $10, get on Facebook Marketplace, find yourself a desk, fix it up, sell it for $20. Arbitrage is one of the easiest things that you can do. What I did was I worked for a very low cost. So that way they had skin in the game, I had skin in the game, and I could show them what I was capable of doing. I also worked for free in a couple of cases, but it was free consulting. It wasn't free done for you work. Every done for you client that I've ever taken has paid for it. So if you're starting from zero and you want to be successful and you want to build up, you gotta just move. You have time. You gotta just take action and say, this is the value that I'm willing to put out there. I'm doing it for X amount of, discount, and I'm just looking for clients. I'm just looking for XYZ, so that way I can show my value. And as soon as you show your value, as soon as you give something valuable in return, then that is reciprocated. And it's not always reciprocated by the person that you helped, but a lot of the times it's reciprocated by the person that you helped, their friends that they told that you did a good job for. And that's exactly what happened to me in our agency. I started working with a real estate agent. I did all of his titles, thumbnails, filming. I went and filmed with them on location, editing, uploading, everything for them for $500 a month. And we started getting videos that started to take off. 1,000 views, 2,000, 5,000, 10,000 in some cases. And then his friends took notice and they're like, who are you working with? Scott, you got to come talk to Scott. And then slowly started inching my numbers up there. And then when we got into Video Marketing World, we talked about this in the past, the conference, when I got into Video Marketing World, then things really started to supercharge and I started to become in demand because of the things that I was talking about, the case studies, examples of working with the real estate agent, working with these other people who were some of these other people who we had great success for. As soon as I started showcasing those case studies, other people were like, oh my gosh, this guy really knows what he's talking about. I want to work with him. And I got myself in front of a big audience. And then those people were all like, yeah, I want to work with you. And then the business just started to explode. Started getting contracts for a couple $1,000s a month. And then it was $5,000 a month, and then $7,000, then $10,000, now $14,000, $15,000 a month in some cases for some of our clients. But I started by just taking action, not having a plan put in place. I didn't have anything put in place. I just took action knowing that I have value to give. And I started taking action, giving that value, and then it started to grow organically. And then as it started to grow organically, I started to fine tune it even more and more and more to the point where now it's a system that I can replicate over and over and over again. Again, somebody can come into our agency. I can spot exact strategy that they need to have. I can tell them what to shoot, how to shoot it, how we're going to edit it, thumbnails, titles. I know all of this stuff instinctually because we've worked on thousands of videos. We have thousands of videos worth of data. And now I'm to the point where I can charge XYZ dollars. But if you're starting from zero, you've got time. You have time. You don't have to have a perfect plan. Don't get confused. You don't have to figure it all out. You don't have to write a business plan before you get started. Just get started. Learn what the market wants from you and then fine tune as you're going. And you will eventually build out something that's worth millions of dollars. All right, you guys, it's the plan for how to go from zero to $1 million. And if you're brand new here, I'm just ranting and rambling as I'm building my business, as I'm growing my business from 7 figures to 8 figures. Welcome to the channel. Hit that subscribe button. See you on the next one. Later.